Hey guys, hope you are doing fantastic. My name's TJ. I'm a property coach. I want to show you how to get landlord agents and developers to work with you over and over and over again and put more money in your pocket. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is the biggest issue many people have, especially when they are brand new and they're trying to get into rent to rent or rent to serviced accommodation. People message me all the time, hey TJ, thank you so much for introducing me to serviced accommodation or rent to rent. But how the heck do I get a landlord or an agent or a developer to want to work with me? What have I got to say? And I always say, look, it's not as difficult as you think it is, because most people believe you've got to lead with a script. Now, again, I used to believe that. That used to be something that I taught people. Hey, here's the script, read this script. Now, as you become more advanced, as you start to work with agents, landlords, developers, as you do hundreds of deals, as you speak to thousands of agents, you start to realize that scripts are actually useless. So anyone that's offering you a script, you've got to ask them some serious questions, because any real entrepreneur or any real salesperson knows that all sales are done via human interaction. So scrap your scripts and let's go to understanding how the sales process works and understanding how people receive information to be able to receive that information in a palatable way, a digestible way, so that they are able to carry out the action you want them to carry out. Now, number one, I wrote a book called Communicative Magic. It's actually a property book. I wrote it as a sales book, but it's a property book infused with so much knowledge on the entire sales process and how to get deals done. So number one, run on Amazon. In fact, I don't even know what's happening. I just get paid royalties on that book. I didn't end up doing a print version, so it's all available on Kindle. I didn't really care much about that book. I wrote that book because it was just something that needed to come out. It's an incredible book. It breaks down the entire process of what to say to an estate agent, how to say it, how to make them understand your story. But I'm going to break down what you've got to be doing right now if you want to get agents, landlords, and developers to actively want to work with you. So pick up Communicative Magic on Amazon. And then the second book that you've got to pick up, and anyone that knows me knows that this is one of my favorite books, and I'll talk about this book another time. It's a book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. Book is absolutely incredible. It talks about 6 things, 6 factors that you've got to understand if you want to move people to action. Now, you've got to bear in mind that if you're getting into property, the one thing that you've got to work on is your ability to move someone to action. Because you are effectively a negotiator, and a good negotiator gets someone from point A to point Z. So people say, TJ, look, I want to get into property. What do I say to estate agents? Can you give me a script? And I say, no, I'm not giving you a script. But what I will do is I will show you 4 simple steps that you've got to understand that will get you a deal every single time. Number 1, lead with value. Now, I know that might sound a bit tricky to you. Lead with value, which means when you speak to an estate agent or a landlord, the first thing you're trying to get out of this relationship is how you can help them. See, what we're usually told is you go into a deal, you negotiate the life out of the deal, you find out how you can help yourself. But the truth is this, landlords, agents, developers speak to so many people every single day who want something from them. Yes, it's their job, but if you flip it on the head like we've been doing and we're seeing greater results, is you lead with value. Hey, Mr. Smith, my name's TJ. I operate so-and-so business. I'm looking to build new relationships with landlords, agents, and developers in blah, blah, blah area. What I'm trying to do is find out how I can be of further assistance to yourself. One of our previous clients, so and so and so. Now that leads on to something. This is why I say you've got to get this book. This is so important. And I wish you had read this book, because it will give you a better understanding on how powerful that specific script is. So catch what I did there. I've called the estate agent. I'm not selling anything. So guess what happens? Their backs are not up against the wall. They're not reactive. They're actually listening. Number 2 is you're actually going to help them. Every single person needs some help. Now, this tends to work a lot when you're working with a small estate agent. And if you read my book, The Borrowed Property Strategy, I give an example of one of my previous clients who had no credit, who had pretty much no money, but he did exactly what I'm telling you to do here. And the estate agent said, hey, listen, because you went out of your way to help me, I'm going to find a way to help you. And my client was able to take on the specific estate agent's property to run for their property business because of this specific principle right here, which is leading with value. So let's go back to this. Hi, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent. My name's TJ. I work with blah, blah, blah company. We're looking to build new relationships with estate agents and landlords and developers in so-and-so area. So name your specific area. What I'm doing is I'm looking to build new relationship with so-and-so in so-and-so area, just like we have done with blah, blah, blah. You've got to catch that part. That part is so crucial. What we have done with blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you don't use the word blah, 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 but you use what we call social proof. Social proof is the biggest and most powerful motivator in the world. It's the biggest way to influence someone to carry out an action you desire them to carry out. Now, again, I talk about that in Communicative Magic. Number one, I'm not trying to plug my book. I don't actually give a shit about the book. I just know it's going to help you. I talk about that in my book, and I break it down because I had to really research how to move people to action, how to become an incredible salesperson so you can get your way, especially with landlords, agents, and developers. And social proof, if you think about it, some of the most successful businesses in the entire world implement social proof. Amazon, eBay, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, any company. In fact, and you'll notice here, all of those companies are billion-pound companies. So if they're doing it, then my goodness, you've got to listen up. Why are reviews so important? Because they act as social proof. Nobody wants to be the first person to work with you. Nobody wants to know that you are brand new. Nobody wants to give a brand new person a property and say, hey, I don't know you. I don't know whether you're going to do well by this property. I don't even know if you're going to make any money. Hey, take my property. It just doesn't happen. That's why you've got to hit them with social proof. So it's blah, 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 like I've done with blah, blah, blah. Now, what that does with social proof is, remember, no one wants to be the first one to give you an opportunity. But what you've said in so many words is, hey, I've been working with other people. What that automatically does to the listener is it drops their guard and they say, okay, well, if somebody else has taken a risk with this person, then I might as well listen up because I'm not the first person to take the risk. Why? Think about eBay. Think about Amazon. What every single person does, including you that's watching this video, is when you're trying to buy something on Amazon, most of the time you go through the reviews and you rank it and you say, well, this is a 5.4 out of 6. This is a 6.7 out of 7. This is a 9.3 out of 10. And you make that decision to say, it's got 1,000 reviews. 1,000 people cannot be wrong about this product. Same as Booking.com, the same space that we're in. Having a bunch of reviews out of 10, for example, if you've got 8.5 out of 10 and you've got 1,000 reviews, what that does in the customer's mind is, okay, this can't be bad. This is a safe option. Let me book. Going back to the script or going back to what to say to agents. Number one, lead with value. How can you help? You tell them that you want to help them. So naturally, they listen because they haven't heard it. They haven't understood as to why you would be calling them to help them. Number two, in that value, you hit them with social proof. So it's a double whammy. It's, my God, what is going on? Who are you? What do you want from me? But you've done the same thing for everyone else, so I might as well listen. Bam, you've got the listening ear. Many of you don't get past 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds. It's not long enough to have the impact that you want. It's not long enough to get them to actually commit to listening to what you're trying to say so that they can carry out the action you want them to carry out. Now, this stuff is actually deep, and I've been studying it for quite some time, which is why we do so many deals. This is why my mentees do so well. But let's catch this. Number one, value. In value, social proof. Let's move on to the next one. Authority. So Robert Cialdini talks about this in his book. We're naturally designed to act in a certain way when we feel that somebody is a figure of authority or someone is an expert. Catch that. We behave in a completely different way when we believe that somebody is an expert or an authority figure. This is why most of the time we are conditioned, when you see a police car, you behave yourself. When you see someone wearing a high-vis jacket, you behave yourself. It changes the behavior pattern because that's how we're conditioned. So there's a lot of understanding that needs to happen if you want to get more deals done. So don't believe the nonsense of, hey, look, go online and you can pick up a deal. Of course, every single person can pick up one deal. Every single person might have some luck and pick up 2 deals, but how do you consistently do it? And this is what I'm showing you, is consistently. And we're picking up deals consistently. I like that. We're picking up deals consistently because we understand how people behave. Property, business, negotiation, sales, at the high level is skill. And this is what I'm trying to teach you in a 10-minute video. It's not going to be long enough, but at least it will give you something to work on if you want to take this to the next level. This is the same information that we use when we're negotiating on 30, 40, 50 properties. When we're negotiating on one building, or when we're negotiating on one property, or when we're negotiating on 10 properties, or when we're negotiating on 50 properties. Same thing. Human beings behave in a pattern. Once you understand the pattern, you win. So let's go back to number one. Number one, value. While you're adding value, you hit them with the social proof. There you gain the listening ear, which buys you more time. Number two, you've got to become the authority figure, which means they've got to believe that you're not a newbie or you're not brand new. If you're brand new, naturally, of course, they're not going to want to work with you. So what you want to do is give the impression that you have done this a number of times without lying. And this is why there are certain words that we use, and we call these words universal quantifiers. Now, these universal quantifiers are one of the most powerful terms you can ever come across. Again, you can research this stuff further. We use the words like we and us. Again, that doubles down on social proof. So when you're saying, hey, what we usually do, or when we usually work with an estate agent, look how excited I get about this. I love teaching this stuff. Hey, when we work with this, and when we do this, and us, and we, and us, it starts to play a trick on the listener's mind because it gives the impression that you are bigger than what you are. But then this is the catch. This is the most important part. So listen very carefully. You want to use certain terminologies. That's what elevates your expert status in a space of a 30-second, 1-minute call. Remember, you don't have 10 minutes. You've got 30 seconds to catch their attention and move them to action. So everything I'm saying is you've got to condense it together and say, bah, 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 bah. Get it all condensed. That's how you make it work. So how do you become an instant authority figure? Number one, you hit them with the we's and us. That's universal quantifiers. Google that stuff. Get other terms as well that work. Then you couple that with certain slang and terminologies. Why do we believe that our doctors are doctors? Why do we believe that our lawyers are lawyers? Because when they speak, they're not using words or terms that we understand. It's a way to fast track expert status. If I was sitting in front of my lawyer, what usually happens is he comes in and he says, hey, we need to sign a CCL and we need to do this, and then we need to do a CFA, and then we need to do this, da 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 da. What that does automatically for me and for many people is that it automatically builds my trust level, because nobody talks slang or uses abbreviations or terminology or short form unless it's usually how they speak. Automatically what that does is it builds the confidence, because it says, well, if this person is using short terms and short words and terminologies and abbreviations, then clearly they're not brand new. Because when you are brand new, you are and ahhing, you don't even know what you're saying, so you're stuttering on certain things, but you want to use certain short terminologies to explain what you are asking for. I'm not going to go into one of the secret details, and this one's like so juicy, but this is what I teach in my training program. But I'm leaving that one out because that one is so crucial. But again, go back to it. So value, undervalue, social proof. Then we get to authority. So create that authority image, authority figure. Again, that also falls down on social proof as well. Number three is what we call the Picasso principle. If you understand this, and once you understand this, I can guarantee that your deals will multiply. That I'm confident of, because I've seen it over and over and over again. The Picasso principle is something that I came up with many years ago when I was teaching my sales team how to make more sales. Every single person is selfish. Once you accept that, and once you understand that your landlord, your agent, your developer is selfish, and everyone operates based on self-interest, then you've got to catch this. This is really crucial, guys. This is really crucial. If you want more deals, then you've got to understand the Picasso principle. Picasso, one of the greatest artists that ever lived. The principle is very simple. You want to paint a picture and include your listener in the picture. Woo! Wow! Catch that. Paint a picture, Picasso, and add your listener into the picture. So let's catch this. Mr. Agent, we do this and we do that. We work with people just like you. Now, this is important. I don't want to go into the whole script stuff, so you can figure all that stuff out. This is just to give you some, I know it's preliminary, but this is like in-depth stuff. But what we're trying to do here is, you've got to bear in mind that the estate agent is not the final decision maker. And they've got to take this information back to the decision maker, which is typically the landlord. So what we're trying to do here is create a scenario where the estate agent understands exactly what your model is or what your business model is because you've included him or her in the picture. Does that make sense? Him or her is in the picture. So when they take this new information back to the decision maker, who is the landlord or the landlady, they then say, without saying so many words, they're able to sell the concept more effectively for you because they understand that the types of people that stay in your property are just like them. Now, based on self-interest, based on self-belief, based on how we perceive ourselves, it's very simple. When I'm speaking to, if I was an estate agent, I'm speaking to my client, I would say, John, Mary, interestingly, I just spoke to a young chap called TJ on the phone. And their business model is really simple. They rent property from us and then they re-rent it out to people like me. Catch how powerful that is. Catch how powerful that is. Number one, the landlord is giving this property to the estate agent because he or she trusts the estate agent. Now the estate agent is saying, yes, look, we want to rent your property out because these people are going to be renting your property out to people who are just like me. It's like a double trust bubble. I don't know if I've lost you guys there. Either way. Number 4, close the damn deal. Most people, 93% of people don't close, which means you give the whole spiel, you talk and talk and talk, you bore the living daylights out of them, you natter in their ear, but you don't ask for the business. Ask for the business. Use different types of closing, assumptive closes, alternative closes. Close the business, blah, 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 blah. Give your whole spiel, give your whole pitch, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any properties that might be suitable? Because you force direction, you force action. No one in this world closes themselves. You might give the most amazing presentation or the most amazing pitch, but if you don't ask for the business, the conversation doesn't get to the next level. If you got some value from this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.